What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Hub. My name is Greg Wave, and I will be your host today. I will also be your host on a lot of future videos. Our main guy, Dylan's going to be taking a break for a while, so for the most part, you guys are going to be dealing with me, which I know for some of you, you're like, oh God, why? No, I'm kidding. But hey, before we get going, guys, I wanted to tell you guys about GetUpside. GetUpside is a super awesome app for saving money on gas. Very first time you download the app, you get 25 cents off per gallon. And then they have a really cool referral system where, every time you refer someone, you get 1 cent off per gallon. So you got to think, if you're referring 5 to 10 people per week, you're getting 5 to 10 cents off per gallon every time you fill up. And then if you're combining that with your Uber and Lyft fuel rewards, I mean, you're talking, I get, I think 7 cents with Uber and I think 5 with Lyft. So if I utilize both of them, 12 cents plus whatever I had, I could be consistently doing 22 cents per gallon if I got the right people on, and anybody can be. So GetUpside, like I said, I mean, if anything, use it once to get 25 cents off per gallon, but I left my referral code for that plugged in the link. But yeah, let's roll the intro music and then we'll get started. Alrighty, so today what I'm going to go over with you guys is tips for talking and being social, as well as networking. This is a really, really good thing. I've met a lot of people that have told me they don't like maybe they started driving Uber and Lyft, but they didn't like it because they weren't social and they didn't like talking to people, or maybe they never even started because of the fear of talking to people, or maybe you do it anyways, but you don't consider yourself the most social person. And there's a lot of reasons to be really engaging with people, but the biggest reason is you're gonna make more money in tips. You will. I have had people all the time that have thrown me $20 to $30 consistently, 4 or 5 times in a day. Sometimes it's happened where I've gotten huge tips thrown my way multiple times in a day because they just kept telling me, oh my gosh, you just made my day, the conversation was so great, you can just really increase your income by just talking. That's insane. So I wanted to give you guys some tips about how I make a lot of money on tips by being conversative and being really engaging, and just ways to just kind of make things feel a lot more natural. So the very first thing that I like is I love wearing my Rideshare Hub shirt. I do want to plug our merch real quick, but the reason why I want to is something about this shirt always gets the conversation going. Whenever I talk to people and tell them I'm a rideshare driver, and then they see the shirt, they think I'm doing something with it. So they ask, and then I tell them about the channel, and it starts with just a really natural conversation. So whether you use our merch or, a different shirt you have or something like this where it attracts their attention and starts a natural, oh, what's that all about? You want that type of thing to happen. That's an easy thing because that's really natural. But let's talk about some scenarios where, how you would get into a natural conversation and what that really looks like. So the main thing to remember is there's going to be a lot of people that just don't want to talk. So you got to try and read that. It's really not that hard. You can really kind of tell if someone doesn't want to engage, and there will be a lot of people that won't want to. You got to be okay with that. I think one of the more annoying things to people is a driver that's trying too hard to engage. So if somebody's just going, if you're like, oh, how are you doing today? Good. Oh, okay, that's good to hear, sir. And, how was your day yesterday? Good. Okay, cool. What do you do here? I'm a psychologist. I'm a, lawyer. Or just really bland answers. You don't want to push that. Leave it alone. You can also get tipped for being quiet. I've gotten tips for being quiet. I've also gotten bad ratings for talking too much. That's why I say that. I've only gotten one actually, but I did get a bad rating one time because I was doing that. I was just pushing too hard and I just didn't read the guy well. He was being kind of nice too, which threw me off. So I was just trying too hard to get a big tip from having a good convo. But the biggest thing is really care. If you sound like you're BSing, and they're going to know, and they're not going to want to talk to you. But if you sound like you genuinely care about someone, you know, they're going to help you out. So this is in a way a little bit of a psychology game, but like for me, what I do is like, I just always put myself in people's shoes when they're talking. And like, I imagine myself like, oh, how would this scenario be if I were in it? You know, would I be that happy if that happened to me? Would I be this sad if that happened to me? And so right away, you're relatable to them. So if they start telling you about how bad their day is going, you know, wow, I'm so sorry to hear that, man. I really wish, you know, I really wish that hadn't happened to you. And I just want to say this, like, I really genuinely hope it gets better for you. I say things like that to people, and like, I mean, it's just crazy. And the thing is, like, in this world, we don't have a lot of people saying things like that to people. Whenever I pick up a college student, I ask them what they're majoring in, what they're working in. At the end of the ride, I always tell them this. I say, hey, I just want you to know this. I really believe in you. I think you're going to make it. Keep working hard. It's going to be worth it. Believe in your dream. How many people are really telling kids that, you know, that are like 18 to 21 in college, struggling? Not too many. A lot of people, not even their parents, you know? So being that little source of encouragement can really go a long way in someone's eyes. And then, you know, the reality is, if you have that level of impact on them, what do you think they're going to do when they get an email from Uber or Lyft saying, how would you rate your driver, Gregory? How would you rate your, you know, and do you want to tip them? You know, your odds just go up and up and up. And with college kids, obviously those aren't going to be big money tippers, but even if they're all throwing you a buck, it's going to add up eventually, you know, so it's worth it. So that's the biggest thing that I do, is like, I'm just visualizing myself in their shoes, visualizing myself having their day, depending on how it's going, and saying that. So what do I do when I pick someone up? So when I pick someone up, the first thing I do is I ask their name, because especially if it's a woman, it's going to make them feel a lot more comfortable. Hey, Ashley? Yeah, Greg? Yeah, that's me. How are you doing today? And I also feel like it segues into natural conversation. You know, they say, yeah, that's me. Oh, okay, awesome. I just wanted to make sure. How are you doing today, though? I said, and, you know, like I said, usually if it's a one-word answer, I'm not going to say anything back. I'm going to leave it alone. Oh, good. You know, work was work. So the key thing is here, this is like the way I trained myself to think, to be social. What was like the main subject they brought up? Work. So then I say like, oh, work is work. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, my day was kind of like that too. I always try to say something where it feels like I'm relating to them. Oh, yeah. I hate Uber for work. You know, if they're talking about how bad their day is, even if I'm not having a bad day, I'm going to try and be relatable. You know, I'm going to be like, yeah, it's been a tough day for me too, man. Living in paradise out here, aren't we? Haha, you know, trying to like kind of speed it up, spice it up a little bit. And then once they've given you some kind of subject, if the conversation starts dying, go back into that subject and ask them what they do. So if all they did was bring up work, and the like convo starts to die, I would say something like, so what do you do for work? And now this next part, like, based on what they say, is going to be up to you. But like, again, you want to keep trying to find relation. Like, that's all that conversation is relation, you know? And so if they're, you know, God, like, hopefully not something like some weird like data analyst where like you don't know it unless you know it. But even then, oh, okay, I've actually never met someone who works that type of job. You know, what do you do? What's the job like? You know, do you enjoy it? Don't, like, again, if you're talking super fast and sounding pushy, they're going to know it's going to piss them off. You got to sound really natural. And then, oh, okay, I got a cousin that does something similar to that. You know, finding some kind of relation. So like, in a way, the conversation doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel bogus to the customer, right? So, and that's pretty much like, from there, usually you'll pick up a lot of really good momentum on the convo, and then it'll kind of take off naturally. Like, I always think about, for those of you that are like bigger drivers like me, where you've been around for some time and done a lot of rides, like, you know, there's those rides where you just have such an awesome conversation with someone. And it's like, you're just really enjoying talking with them, and you drop them off and like, you're happy. Like, I'm constantly trying to create that. I mean, a lady the other day, we talked about books the entire way home. I had read one of the like 30 books she talked about. I had heard of one other author, but we talked the whole way home, and she told me, you know what she said? She goes, you know what? That's one of the best conversations I've ever had with an Uber driver. Tipped me $6. That was just this last Friday. So conversation goes a long way, guys. Like, really being social is going to increase your earnings. It is worthwhile. So I hope some of these tips helped you guys. I'm gonna leave you guys alone now and get going, but be social. It will contribute to your tips. I hope this works for you. I really want you guys to try and apply this over the next week. Let me know how it works in the comments, and have a great rest of your day, guys.